Hello, everyone. Tonight, we're going to dive into a story that will make you question the very fabric of family, loyalty, and betrayal. A story wrapped in darkness and secrets so deeply buried, they've come to define an entire lineage. Before we dive into the story, let me warn you, this channel is not for everyone. Only for those brave enough to uncover dark secrets. If you're ready to hear truths that will make you question everything you think you know about power, crime, and family, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let us know where you're watching from. Because this story could happen anywhere in the United States. Devereux Manor stands tall against a blood-red sky. Its towering presence looming over the small town of Ashfield like a forgotten ghost. The mansion, once a symbol of prestige and old money, now looks more like a decaying relic of a time long gone. Ivy clings to its crumbling walls, and the windows, once shining with light, are now clouded with years of neglect. Inside, the silence is oppressive, like the house itself is holding its breath, waiting for something or someone. You've arrived after years of absence, drawn back to the place where so many memories, some forgotten, some buried, lurk in the shadows. It's not a place of warmth, nor of nostalgia. Instead, it feels like the air is thicker here, the past bleeding into the present with every step you take. You're here for one reason: to uncover the truth about the Devereux family. The truth about what really happened to Evelyn Devereux, a girl who disappeared without a trace years ago. Tonight, the family is hosting a reunion in honor of Evelyn's memory, a twisted gesture considering the events that followed her disappearance. You were invited, though not by choice. It's a family tradition. Perhaps to invite those who once belonged, but who have now been cast out or forgotten. And yet, there's something unsettling about this invitation. An old letter, sealed with the family crest, arrived with a simple message: come back. There are things you need to know. You can already sense the tension in the air as you step through the grand oak doors of the mansion. The guests are scattered, hidden behind polite smiles, their conversations murmuring in hushed tones. They all know more than they're letting on. You can tell. It's like they're all playing a part in a grim performance, pretending that nothing is wrong. But you're here to peel back the layers, to uncover the truth, no matter how dark or dangerous it may be. As you stand in the grand foyer, the sound of footsteps echoes behind you. Turning around, you come face to face with a familiar, yet unexpected face. It's Lucas Devereux, the family's estranged black sheep. You haven't seen him in over a decade, and his presence here feels wrong. His eyes meet yours, and for a moment, you both just stare, silently acknowledging the weight of the years that have passed. Lucas's grin is small, but there's something unsettling about it. His face has aged, but there's still the same reckless energy in his posture, the same air of danger that made him both charming and terrifying in his younger years. You can feel the gravity of the situation already. He's the key to everything. You came, he says with a voice that's too soft, too dangerous. I knew you would. There's a lot you don't know about this place, but don't worry, you will. Before you can respond, he walks past you, heading toward the library where most of the family has gathered. You follow, your heart pounding in your chest. What does he mean? What does he know? The family is seated in the grand library now, and the air is thick with unspoken words. Richard Devereux, the patriarch of the family, sits at the head of the long, dark oak table. His sharp features are hidden behind a facade of calm, his steely eyes betraying nothing. Beside him is Eleanor, his wife, whose reserved demeanor masks an intellect that has quietly shaped the family's empire. Both have been pillars of power in Ashfield for years, their names spoken with a reverence that comes with wealth and influence. The rest of the family seems to shrink under their gaze, as though they too know that something terrible is waiting to be uncovered. And in the corner of the room, the portrait of Evelyn Devereux hangs on the wall, her painted eyes staring back at you like a silent accusation. It's as if she's still watching, still waiting for someone to uncover the truth. You take a seat, your mind racing. Lucas sits beside you, his presence unnerving. He leans in, his voice barely a whisper. Evelyn wasn't just a girl who disappeared, he says, his words carrying a weight that sends a chill down your spine. She was a symbol of everything this family is built on. And what happened to her, it's not something you'll find in the official records. It's buried far deeper than that. His words hang in the air like smoke, and you feel the first stirrings of unease in your stomach. You've always known there were dark corners to the Devereux family, but you never imagined it would run this deep. The family reunion begins, and the formalities take over. But as the evening wears on, something shifts in the room. It's subtle, at first quiet glances exchanged, hushed whispers. But soon it becomes clear something is happening beneath the surface. Someone in this room knows more than they're letting on, and you've only just begun to scratch the surface. Lucas's words echo in your mind. Evelyn wasn't just a girl who disappeared, and now, as you sit in the darkened room, you realize the true weight of that statement. The Devereux family is not just hiding one secret, they are hiding everything. The night stretches on, thick with tension. As the Devereux family continues their charade of civility, the room, grand and imposing, seems to close in on you with each passing moment. The weight of the family's secrets pressing down on your chest. You can hear the clinking of glasses, the soft hum of conversations that don't quite reach you. But despite the facade, something is off. Something is unraveling beneath the surface, and you can feel it in the air. Lucas leans in again, his breath warm against your ear. Though his words are cold, Evelyn's disappearance, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a tragic accident. And it wasn't the first time someone in this family vanished. The weight of his words sinks in. The Devereux family, a household with a history as old as the town of Ashfield itself, is not one you associate with disappearances. They are, or at least were, pillars of the community. But Lucas's voice carries an urgency, a desperation that wasn't there before. It's as if he's trying to tell you something that could change everything you thought you knew. You glance at the others in the room. Richard, the patriarch, is still the same stoic, silent, his eyes focused on nothing in particular. Eleanor, his wife, is ever the picture of composure, her soft smile hiding any trace of vulnerability. But they are both acting as if nothing is wrong. Nothing has changed. As if Evelyn's disappearance, the whole reason you're here tonight, is something that should have been forgotten long ago. But you can't forget it. You can't let it go. Something isn't adding up. The evening continues with forced pleasantries. But Lucas won't let up. He's relentless, slipping in and out of conversations, drawing you back into the darker side of the family's history. Finally, when the others are distracted. He leans in once more. "You need to understand," he says quietly, "that Evelyn's disappearance is tied to something much bigger than just a missing child. It's part of a pattern that goes back for generations." You feel a knot tighten in your stomach. There's more to this story than anyone is willing to admit. The conversation shifts again, this time to the subject of Evelyn's memory. The family speaks of her as if she were a saint untouched, pure, lost to them forever. The words are rehearsed, the sentiments hollow. You can feel the dishonesty in the air. They don't miss her the way they should. They miss the illusion of her, the image they've crafted for the world. They miss what she represented: a perfect family, a pristine image that was never meant to be tarnished. You look up at her portrait on the wall, and something about it catches your eye. It's not just the way she looks her innocence, the way her eyes seem so full of life. No, it's the small, almost imperceptible detail in the background. There's something wrong with the setting in the portrait. The place she's been painted in doesn't match anything you remember about the estate. The garden behind her is not one that's ever existed. You take a mental note of the discrepancy, but the unease it brings gnaws at you. Later that evening, after the guests have begun to drift away, Lucas pulls you aside. His face is serious now. No longer the mischievous grin from earlier. His voice lowers, barely audible. "I'm not here because I want to be. You know," he says, his eyes darting nervously around the room. "I'm here because I have to be." Evelyn was part of something much darker than you realize. Something this family has been hiding for decades. You take a deep breath, unsure if you want to hear any more. But there's no turning back now. You need the truth. "What are you talking about?" "Lucas," you ask, your voice a whisper. "Human trafficking," he says, his words cutting through the air like a knife. "It's been going on for years. And Evelyn was meant to be a part of it." The world tilts beneath you as his words sink in. Human trafficking, the Devereux family, the people who built the town, who everyone trusted. Could they really be involved in something so grotesque? Lucas continues, his voice low and measured, as though he's speaking more to himself than to you. "They didn't just disappear her. They sold her. But she didn't go quietly. Evelyn fought back, and that's why she's gone. She was too much of a problem." A chill runs down your spine. This is a side of the Devereux family that no one in Ashfield has ever dared to speak of. The idea of the family's involvement in something as vile as trafficking is so absurd, so incomprehensible, that you wonder if Lucas is simply unhinged. But the look in his eyes, there's no trace of the reckless man from earlier. There's only desperation, fear. "You have to listen," he presses. "It's not just about Evelyn. The whole family is involved. And there are more victims. I was trying to expose it, but they found out. They've always been one step ahead." Lucas steps back, his eyes wild, his breath quickening. "I can't stay here," he mutters. "I shouldn't have even come back. But you have to figure this out. The truth is here, in this house, before you can say another word." Lucas turns and walks swiftly out of the room, disappearing into the shadows of the mansion. The silence in the room is deafening now. The weight of what Lucas has just revealed hangs in the air like a heavy fog. Human trafficking, Evelyn's fight, the family's dark legacy. You glance around the room, searching for answers. But there's nothing. Only the empty echoes of your own thoughts. And then, in the distance, a door creaks open. The silence is broken by the creaking of a door in the distance. Your heart races as you stand frozen, unsure of whether you should follow the sound or retreat, but you've come too far to back down now. Lucas's words echo in your mind like a haunting melody, growing louder, more insistent with every passing second. The truth is here. In this house, you push past the uncertainty, your footsteps muffled on the plush carpet as you move cautiously towards the source of the sound. The mansion seems even darker now, its hallways more oppressive, like the walls themselves are closing in on you. Each turn you take seems to lead deeper into the labyrinth of secrets hidden within this decaying house. You reach the room where the sound came from a small, dimly lit study at the far end of the mansion. The door is ajar, and you can hear soft whispers coming from within. Slowly, you push the door open, the sound of its hinges scraping across the floor sharp in the otherwise still air. Inside, you see two figures, Richard Devereux, sitting at an old oak desk, his sharp eyes fixed on a stack of documents before him, and Eleanor, standing near the window, her back to you. They don't notice you at first, so you take a moment to observe them. They are the epitome of wealth and control, polished, calm, their every movement calculated and deliberate. But there's something in their eyes, something you haven't seen before, a flicker of fear, or maybe it's guilt. You can't quite tell. Eleanor turns suddenly, catching you in the doorway. Her eyes narrow, and the smile she gives you is too tight, too rehearsed. "Ah, you've come to join us. Haven't you?" she says, her voice soft, yet laced with a coldness that sends a shiver down your spine. "Don't mind us. We were just discussing some old family matters. I trust you've enjoyed the evening so far." You nod, unsure of what to say. The tension in the room is thick, like a live wire waiting to snap. There's no doubt that they know something. But what? Actually, you begin, your voice betraying a hint of the fear that's been building in you all night. "I've been meaning to ask about Evelyn. You never really talk about her, do you?" Richard doesn't look up from his papers, but his jaw tightens. Eleanor's smile falters, just for a moment. Before she composes herself, Evelyn was a lost cause. She says, her words carefully chosen. A tragedy, of course, but she's part of the past now, and some things are better left where they belong. The words are smooth, practiced, too practiced, but something in her expression shifts. A fleeting moment of vulnerability, or is it guilt? You can't quite place it, but it's enough to make your stomach churn. "We've moved on," Richard adds, his voice cold. "You should too, but you can't move on. Not now. Not after what Lucas told you." Before you can respond, there's a knock at the door, sharp and insistent. Eleanor turns sharply, her face hardening as she moves toward the door. She opens it just a crack, and you hear a hushed exchange before she closes it again. "Excuse me," she says, her voice now firm, cold. "We have business to attend to. Perhaps it's best if you return to the gathering. There's nothing more to discuss here, but there is. You can feel it in your bones." You turn to leave, but just before you reach the door, you hear Richard's voice, low and almost imperceptible. "Do not dig any deeper. Trust me." The words hang in the air, a silent threat cloaked in politeness. You don't turn back, not yet. But as you leave the study, The cold air of the mansion wraps itself around you, the weight of their warning heavy on your chest. Outside, the house looms, its imposing structure seeming even more menacing now. You step into the hallway and look around, your mind racing. You know now that something is wrong, deeply wrong, but you still don't have all the pieces. You need answers, and you need them fast. You make your way down the long corridor toward the library, hoping to find something, anything, that will help you piece this together. The family's wealth, their power, where did it all come from? And what about Evelyn? What did she know? The library is silent when you enter. The room is vast, filled with shelves that stretch from floor to ceiling, each one crammed with old, dusty books. But it's not the books you're looking for. It's the file cabinet at the back of the room that catches your attention. The cabinet is old, its drawers slightly askew as though they've been opened and closed countless times. The metal handle is cool to the touch as you pull open the first drawer. Inside, there are folders too many to count, each one labeled with a name. But none of the names are familiar. You skim through them, your fingers trembling as you pull out a folder with the name Evelyn Devereux written in bold black letters. Your heart skips a beat as you open the file. Inside, there are photos grainy, black and white images of a young girl, barely a teenager, standing in front of the mansion. But something is off about the photos. The faces in the background are blurry, indistinct, but their postures are strangely rigid, like they're trying to avoid being seen. There's a strange symbol in the corner of one photo, a symbol you don't recognize. You feel a chill run through your body as you continue to flip through the pages. There are more photos, these newer, but they depict something even darker. Evelyn, now older, standing next to a man you don't recognize. His face is half hidden in shadow, but the expression in his eyes is unmistakable cold, calculating, predatory. The final page is a handwritten note. It's brief, but the message is clear. Evelyn is the key to everything. She knows too much. She can't be allowed to speak. You slam the folder shut, your mind racing. What does this mean? Who is this man? And why did the family go to such lengths to keep her quiet? Suddenly, you hear footsteps behind you. You turn quickly, your heart hammering in your chest. But when you look, there's no one there. So you're still following this story. Right, if you're still listening. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Share your thoughts. I'm really curious to hear what you think about what's happened and what's unfolding. The folder feels heavy in your hands, like it holds the weight of all the family's secrets, and you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. You stand frozen in the library, staring at the closed door, half expecting to see someone standing in the doorway. But when you look, there's no one there. The silence in the mansion deepens, almost suffocating. Your fingers tighten around the folder as you force yourself to push the unsettling feeling aside. You've uncovered something that can't be ignored. Evelyn wasn't just another child lost in the shadows of the Devereux family's empire. She knew something. She had uncovered something too dangerous for them to allow her to live. You carefully place the folder back into the drawer, but you can't bring yourself to close it. You need to understand more. Who was this man in the photographs with Evelyn who had been controlling her life? And why was the Devereux family willing to go to such extreme lengths to silence her? The files seem endless, each one holding a piece of a puzzle that, when put together, paints a dark picture of a family not just involved in one crime, but in an entire web of criminal activity stretching back decades: human trafficking, illegal adoptions, financial manipulation, black market operations. The Devereux family has been at the heart of it all. Their wealth built on lies, fear, and the exploitation of vulnerable people. You sift through the documents, your heart pounding in your chest with every new revelation. You find names you don't recognize buried in the papers. There are references to old addresses, strange connections to international businesses, and, most disturbingly, more photos of children. Their faces blurred, their identities hidden. And there, among the pages, you find another name, Evelyn Devereux. Your pulse quickens. Evelyn Devereux. You've heard that name before, but it hasn't surfaced until now. Catherine was Richard and Eleanor's daughter, Evelyn's older sister, or, at least, that's what everyone believed. But now, as you sift through the papers, you begin to realize that there's more to Catherine's story than anyone has ever told. The files paint a picture of Catherine as someone who was involved in the darker dealings of the family, someone who seemed to have mysteriously disappeared at the same time as Evelyn. Had she too been silenced, or had she simply fallen off the radar because she knew too much? Your hands tremble as you pull out yet another folder, this one labeled Evelyn Devereux. The page inside is filled with handwritten notes, scrawled hastily across the paper. They are fragmented thoughts, ideas crossed out, but they seem to connect the dots between Catherine, Evelyn, and a larger, more dangerous operation. The last sentence of the note makes your heart stop. The Devereux family isn't just powerful, they control everything. The revelation sends a jolt through you, your body tense with the weight of it. What could it mean? What power did the Devereux family truly have? And how far would they go to protect it? What had they done to their own children to maintain their grip on this twisted empire? Suddenly, you hear the sound of footsteps again, this time closer. They echo down the hall, sharp and deliberate. You quickly stuff the folder into your jacket, and as you turn to leave, the door bursts open. It's Lucas. His face is pale, his eyes wide with panic. They know. He whispers urgently, glancing behind him as though expecting someone to follow. They know you're looking into this. You need to leave. Now. Your heart skips a beat. What do you mean? They know who knows. The Devereux family, he says, his voice barely audible. They've always known. They've been watching you from the moment you stepped foot in this house. A chill runs down your spine. You've been walking into a trap, haven't you? All this time, you thought you were uncovering secrets, but maybe you were just playing into their hands. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? You demand, your voice harsh with frustration. What else have you been hiding? Lucas looks around the room again before stepping closer, his breath coming in quick bursts. I didn't want you to get involved, he says, his eyes filled with regret. I tried to get out, but they don't let you go. Once you're in for good. Get out, you ask, confused. What do you mean? He hesitates for a moment before answering. The Devereux family doesn't just control business deals, land, and money. They've got their hands in everything. Politics, law enforcement. They control who gets to know what happens in this town. The weight of his words settles over you. You thought the family's crimes were limited to human trafficking and corruption, but it runs much deeper. The Devereux family is untouchable. They have connections that can silence anyone who stands in their way. But Evelyn, you begin, but Lucas cuts you off. They couldn't let her live because she was going to expose everything. He says urgently, she knew the full extent of their operations, everything. She was going to tell someone, and they couldn't risk that, not when everything they've worked for is on the line. You swallow hard, trying to wrap your mind around it. Evelyn's disappearance wasn't just the result of a family tragedy, it was a calculated move to silence her forever. But there's something deeper here. Something you don't yet understand. Where is she? Lucas, you ask, your voice desperate. What happened to her? Lucas's face tightens, his eyes flickering with something you can't quite place: fear, guilt, or something else entirely. But before he can speak, there's a sudden noise, the unmistakable sound of a door opening in the distance, followed by hurried footsteps. They're coming. Lucas hisses, you have to leave. Now. You look at him, your mind racing. The truth is within your grasp, but you don't know how much longer you have before it's too late. Panic surges through your veins as Lucas grabs your arm, pulling you toward the back door. The sound of footsteps grows louder, closer. Your pulse quickens, they're coming for you. The weight of the secrets you've uncovered is suffocating, and you know there's no time left to linger. Lucas pushes you toward the exit, his eyes wide with fear, his grip like iron on your arm. There's no time to explain, he whispers urgently. We need to get out of here, now. You don't resist. The urgency in his voice compels you to move faster, and together you race down the dark corridor, the heavy echo of your footsteps chasing you through the silence of the mansion. You reach the back of the house, where the servants' quarters are tucked away behind a narrow alley. The door creaks as you push it open, slipping into the night. The cold air outside feels like a slap to your face, but it's a relief. The tension that has been building in the house finally releases, though you can't shake the gnawing sense of danger that still lingers in your chest. The truth about Evelyn, about the Devereux family, has been revealed, but it's only the beginning. There's more to this story than even Lucas seems to know. And the deeper you dig, the more you realize that the family's crimes go beyond what you've seen so far. Lucas pulls you through the overgrown garden toward a narrow path that leads out to the woods behind the estate. He's moving quickly, but his breathing is labored. He doesn't speak again until you're far enough from the house, the mansion now nothing more than a dark silhouette in the distance. This family, Lucas mutters, almost to himself. They've controlled everything in Ashfield for so long, not just the businesses, but the people, the town itself. They've been manipulating everything, everyone. You stop in your tracks, the realization hitting you like a punch to the gut. You mean they've been behind everything, the trafficking, the corruption, the missing people? Lucas nods grimly. It's not just about human trafficking. That's just one part of their empire. They've had their fingers in every dark corner of this town. They've bought politicians, controlled law enforcement. People vanish all the time, and no one dares ask questions. They've built a web that's nearly impossible to escape from. It's bigger than I ever realized, bigger than I can fight alone. You glance at him, disbelief warring with anger. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? You knew, didn't you? He looks away, guilt flashing in his eyes. I didn't want you involved in this. It's dangerous. I thought if I stayed away from the family long enough, I could get out. But once they got wind of what I was doing, I knew I was marked. You should have stayed out, too. I couldn't. You reply, the words leaving your mouth before you can stop them. You know I couldn't. This isn't just about them. It's about Evelyn. It's about all the people they've hurt, the lives they've ruined. I have to know the truth. Lucas lets out a low, bitter laugh, his eyes filled with frustration. You don't understand. They'll never let you know the truth. They'll do whatever it takes to protect their legacy. And if you keep digging, you'll disappear just like Evelyn did. Your heart sinks at his words. But there's no turning back now. You've seen too much, and you won't stop until you know what happened to Evelyn and what other dark secrets the Devereux family is hiding. Then I'll just have to expose them. You say, your voice steady, resolute. Lucas's face hardens. But there's something else in his eyes, a flicker of admiration. Perhaps, or is it fear? We need a plan, he says quietly. The family has eyes everywhere. You won't be able to just walk in and ask questions. You need to be careful, very careful. The forest around you is eerily silent, the sounds of the night drowned out by the heaviness of the conversation. You both stand in the shadows, the only light coming from the faint glow of the mansion in the distance. What's our next move, you ask, your voice low. Lucas looks around nervously before leaning in closer. There's a safe deposit box. Inside it, you'll find everything you need. It's hidden at the local bank. Only one person knows about it, my father, Richard Devereux. Your heart skips a beat. Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? Lucas lowers his voice, his gaze darkening. Because I don't know if my father is still alive or if he's still working with them. But the box holds the answers. If you want to know the full story, if you want to uncover everything, that's where you'll find the key. You stand frozen, the magnitude of his words sinking in. You've come so far. But the truth is still out of reach. The safe deposit box could be the final piece of the puzzle, the key that unlocks everything. But it could also be a trap, a last attempt by the Devereux family to bury their secrets for good. But you can't walk away now, not when you're so close. Where is it, you ask? Your voice steady. It's in Ashfield, the old bank near the town square. It's been abandoned for years, but the vaults are still there. The key is hidden in a place only my father would know. But it's not going to be easy. There are people watching, and once you're inside, you won't have much time. You nod, your mind racing with the possibilities. This is it, the final step. But just as you're about to speak, a distant sound cuts through the night, the unmistakable roar of an engine. They're coming, Lucas says in a whisper, his eyes wide with alarm. We have to move, now, without another word. The two of you run deeper into the woods, the sounds of the approaching vehicle growing louder. This is no longer just about Evelyn. It's about survival. The forest around you seems to swallow every sound, but your heart pounds loudly in your ears, drowning out the whispering trees and the rustling leaves underfoot. Lucas pulls you deeper into the woods, his breath quick and shallow, but his grip on your arm is strong. The sound of the engine, growing closer with every passing second, sends a jolt of adrenaline through your body. You can feel it. The Devereux family is no longer just a shadow hanging over you. They're a presence, closing in fast, determined to protect their secrets at any cost. The sound of the engine comes to a halt just outside the woods. You can hear the crunch of tires on gravel, and then the unmistakable sound of a car door slamming shut. Lucas pulls you further into the darkness, but it feels like the walls are closing in. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. We need to make it to the bank, Lucas mutters urgently, his voice tight with fear. That's our only shot. You nod, your mind racing. The safe deposit box is still your best hope of uncovering the truth. But as you move through the woods, weaving between the trees, you know time is running out. The Devereux family has eyes everywhere. And if they catch you, if they catch Lucas, it could be the end of the line for both of you. A flash of light cuts through the trees ahead of you, and you freeze. Someone's coming. You're going to have to go on without me, Lucas says abruptly, stopping in his tracks. His eyes meet yours. And for the first time, you see a flicker of something else, something softer. I'll hold them off. You can't stop now. Your stomach twists with dread. Lucas, no. You're not doing this alone. But he shakes his head, his expression hardening. It's the only way. They won't stop looking for me. You're too close to the truth now. You can't let them get to it. I won't let them. Without waiting for another word, Lucas turns and begins to run in the opposite direction, drawing the attention of the approaching figures. You want to shout, to run after him. But the sound of movement in the trees is getting louder, closer. You have no choice but to turn and push forward, your heart heavy with the knowledge that Lucas might not make it out of this. You reach the edge of the woods and find yourself facing the abandoned bank. Its stone facade stands grim and cold against the moonlit sky. The windows are dark, but you know the vaults are still there, hidden deep within, just waiting to reveal the truth. The door creaks as you push it open, and a chill runs down your spine. Inside, the air is thick with dust, and the smell of old leather and stale air fills your nostrils. The bank's once grand interior is now a forgotten relic, a place where time seems to stand still. The faint sounds of your footsteps are the only noise as you make your way toward the back, where the vaults are hidden beneath layers of rust and disuse. But as you approach the back, the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. You can feel eyes on you. Something isn't right. You've entered the Devereux family's world now. You're too far gone to turn back. The vault door looms in front of you, heavy and menacing, like the final barrier between you and the truth. You place your hand on the cool metal, feeling its cold surface beneath your fingers. There's no turning back now. You slide the key into the lock with trembling hands. The click of the lock feels deafening in the stillness of the room. The vault door groans as it opens, revealing a series of old, yellowed folders stacked inside. Your heart races as you begin to sift through them, each file containing names, dates, and accounts that seem to map out the Devereux family's operations. You find one file with a name that makes your stomach churn, Evelyn Devereux. You pull it out, your hands shaking. This is it, the file that holds the answers, the key to everything you've been trying to uncover. You flip it open, and your eyes scan the pages. It's worse than you imagined. Evelyn had been more than just a victim. She had been part of the Devereux family's criminal empire, a willing participant, at least at first. The documents reveal details about her involvement in the family's trafficking ring, her role in securing and maintaining the family's wealth through illegal operations. The betrayal is crushing. Evelyn had been a part of the family's darkness. But then there's a shift. In the later entries, it becomes clear that Evelyn had started to rebel against the family, had begun to question the system she had been born into. The files describe her attempts to escape, to break free from the family's grasp, and the punishment she faced for trying to leave. The last page is a handwritten note in the margins, written in what you recognize as Richard Devereux's handwriting. She was too weak. She couldn't handle the truth. The family's legacy is too important to let her destroy it. She had to be dealt with. The realization hits you like a punch in the gut. Evelyn hadn't just disappeared because she got in the way of a criminal operation. She had been silenced because she threatened everything the Devereux family had worked so hard to protect: their power, their control, their empire. Suddenly, you hear a noise behind you. You freeze, your body tense, every muscle on edge. You turn slowly, and there, in the doorway, stands none other than Richard Devereux himself, his cold eyes fixed on you. "I thought you might find this place," he says, his voice calm, almost pleased. "You've done well to make it this far, but you won't make it out with what you found. I can promise you that." His gaze flickers to the file in your hand, and you feel the weight of his words settle over you like a blanket of ice. You've come this far, but it's over now. Richard Devereux steps into the vault with a quiet, calculated grace. The door creaks behind him, but you're too stunned to look away. His presence fills the room, his shadow swallowing up the dim light as he moves closer. You can feel the weight of his gaze, like a predator sizing up its prey, and a cold shiver runs down your spine. Your grip tightens around the file, and for a moment, all you can do is stare at him. He looks as composed as ever, his features carved from stone, but there's something in his eyes, something sharp, dangerous, that tells you he's always been in control. And you've just walked into his trap. "You shouldn't have come here," Richard says, his voice smooth, almost admiring. "You think you can expose us, uncover our secrets, but you're forgetting something important. We've been here for generations, and we control everything. You've been playing a game you don't understand." His words strike deep, like an accusation, but also like a warning. Every instinct tells you to run, to flee, but you can't. You've already gone too far. Evelyn's fate, the Devereux family's crimes, they all hinge on this moment. There's no turning back now. "You don't get to decide what I can and can't expose," you say, trying to sound braver than you feel. The file shakes in your hands, betraying your fear. Evelyn, she didn't deserve what happened to her. She didn't deserve to be part of this twisted empire. Richard tilts his head slightly, his lips curling into a small, almost sympathetic smile. "Ah, Evelyn, she was a disappointment, too much of a rebel, too weak to understand the bigger picture. She thought she could get away from us. That's the thing about people like her, they think they can escape. But the truth is, we own this town. We own everything in it. You think you can just walk in and expose us?" The bile rises in your throat as you step forward, shaking with anger and disbelief. You used her. You used her. And when she wanted out, you killed her. All for your precious empire. Richard's smile widens. It's not the smile of a man who regrets his actions. It's the smile of someone who has lived in his power for so long that it's become second nature to him. "You're right," he says, his voice suddenly colder, sharper. "We did use her, and I'm not sorry for it. Evelyn was an obstacle, a weak link in the chain. And in this family, we can't afford weak links." As for your little investigation, you've come to the wrong conclusion. What do you mean, you ask? Feeling a knot form in your stomach, Richard's eyes flicker to the file in your hands, then back to you. You think you've uncovered everything, but you're wrong. Oh, the truth about Evelyn, about the family, is far more complicated than you could ever imagine. She wasn't just part of the family's operation, she was the operation. She was never the victim. She was an accomplice, just like the rest of us. Your mind reels, your thoughts crashing together. This isn't the truth you thought you'd find. Evelyn wasn't a victim. She had been part of this. The revelation feels like a slap in the face, like the ground beneath you is shifting, and you're suddenly unsure of anything. Could it really be true? Was Evelyn just as much a part of the family's darkness as Richard? You're lying. You say, the words escaping before you can stop them. She wanted out. She tried to leave. Richard raises an eyebrow. Did she, or did she just think she could outsmart us? No one leaves the Devereux family. Not without consequences. The weight of his words presses down on you. But there's something in his expression, something that tells you there's still more to the story. You don't know what to believe anymore. But you know this Evelyn's death was part of something much larger than you've realized. And Richard is far more dangerous than you could have imagined. There's more to this. Isn't there, you say? Your voice barely a whisper. Something you're still hiding. Richard doesn't answer right away. Instead, he steps closer. The air between you crackling with tension. You can hear your own heartbeat in your ears, drowning out everything else. The file in your hands feels like a ticking time bomb, and you can't shake the feeling that every second you stand here is a risk. You really want to know the truth, don't you? He says softly. His voice suddenly almost hypnotic. You've dug so deep, and now you're standing at the edge of something you'll never be able to comprehend. But I'll tell you this, Evelyn wasn't the only one. There are others, many others. And it's not just trafficking. It's power, control. And we'll do whatever it takes to protect it. You can't breathe. The walls seem to close in on you as the weight of his words sinks in. It wasn't just Evelyn. There are more victims, more people caught in the web of lies and corruption the Devereux family has built. Richard steps back, his expression almost pitying. You think you can expose us. You think the world is ready for the truth. You're not ready. You'll never be ready. Suddenly, the vault door slams shut behind you, and the sound of footsteps echoes through the bank. You turn quickly, but the way is blocked. The figures that step into the vault with you are familiar. They're part of the family's inner circle, their faces cold and impassive. You should have stayed away. One of them says, his voice low and threatening. Now you've seen too much. Richard's voice cuts through the silence, calm and cold. Take care of them. Before you can react, two of the figures advance toward you, their movements fast. Practiced, you have mere seconds to think, but just as they reach you, the sound of shattering glass erupts in the distance, followed by a loud crash. The world tilts sideways. A figure bursts through the back door, a shadow moving in the chaos. It's Lucas, his face drawn with a determination, a glint of something in his hand. I said you wouldn't make it out alone. Lucas yells, his voice ringing through the vault. With the sudden distraction, you feel a surge of hope. This isn't over yet. The chaos erupts in an instant. The moment Lucas bursts through the back door, everything shifts. The figures closing in on you stop in their tracks, momentarily thrown off balance by the sudden intervention. Lucas's hand grips something tightly. A sharp glint of metal flashing in the dim light of the vault. The air crackles with tension, and for the first time since entering this cursed house, you feel a flicker of hope. Lucas charges forward, a wild energy in his movements, his eyes locked on the figures in front of you. He doesn't stop. He doesn't even hesitate, with one fluid motion. He swings a crowbar at the nearest figure. Knocking them to the side with a sickening thud, the room is plunged into chaos. And the two figures step back, surprised, but quickly recovering. One of them reaches for a gun holstered at their side. Lucas sees the movement and lunges forward, knocking the weapon out of their hand. The metal clatters to the floor. But the other figure pulls out a knife. "Get down," Lucas shouts, but you don't need to be told twice. You dive to the ground just as the man with the knife slashes through the air. The blade misses you by mere inches, but you can feel the wind of it brush against your skin. Your heart pounds in your chest, but you push the fear down. This isn't over. Not yet. Lucas fights fiercely, his body moving with a desperation you've never seen before. He knows this could be his only chance. The family knows him. They know his face. But he's fighting for something more, now fighting to make sure you get out with the truth. Fighting to make sure the Devereux family doesn't keep the darkness hidden for another generation. You scramble to your feet, your mind racing as you search for an escape. The vault feels like it's closing in around you. The door is blocked. And with the figures now struggling with Lucas, there's no clear way out. But your eyes fall on something in the corner of the vault. A small window, barely big enough to squeeze through. "Lucas," you shout, desperation in your voice. The window. He doesn't look at you, but he hears you. With a final push, he knocks one of the men to the floor, the other staggering back, momentarily dazed. The window is your only chance, and you don't waste time. You dart toward it, your heart racing, and pull at the metal bars. They're rusted. But with a grunt, you manage to loosen one enough to slip your hand through. "Come on," you scream again, glancing back just in time to see Lucas turn and grab the crowbar. The other man charges, and Lucas swings hard, landing a blow to the attacker's head. The man stumbles back, collapsing to the floor with a heavy thud. You scramble up to the window, your body aching as you force yourself through the tight space. The cool night air hits your face as you land on the other side, and for a second, you can't believe it. You're outside, but there's no time to celebrate. You hear footsteps behind you, closer this time. The figures inside the bank are regrouping. You can't afford to wait. You glance around, your eyes scanning the dark alley for any sign of safety. It's too quiet, too still. Suddenly, you hear Lucas's voice, strained but determined. "Get to the car," he shouts, emerging from the window, his hand gripping his side as though the fight took a toll. But he doesn't stop. He doesn't falter. His eyes meet yours, and in that moment, you both understand what's at stake. The sound of sirens fills the air now, distant but growing closer. It's the only thing that could save you. Someone must have heard the crash, the fight inside the vault. You don't know who, but you can feel the urgency building. You run together, not looking back, not stopping to think. The Devereux family's empire is crumbling around you, but it's not over yet. You need to get to safety. The truth, the files you've uncovered, and the secrets buried within those walls, they're all coming to light. But just as you round the corner to where Lucas's car is parked, a shadow appears ahead of you. A figure steps out from behind the rusted fence, tall, dark, and unmistakable. Richard Devereux. His eyes meet yours across the alley, and for a moment, time seems to slow. There's no more pretending, no more manipulation. The man who's been the mastermind behind all of this stands before you, his posture unyielding, his expression like stone. "Did you really think you could expose us?" he asks, his voice low and dangerous. "You have no idea what you've unleashed." You stop in your tracks, unable to move. Behind him, more figures emerge, members of the family's inner circle. They're blocking the exit, closing in on you. You have no way out, no way to escape. And yet, for the first time, you feel something else. Not fear, but a quiet, growing certainty that no matter what happens next, the truth has already begun to spread. No matter how hard they try to bury it, it will come to light. The Devereux family can't control everything. Not anymore. Lucas stands beside you, his jaw clenched, his stance ready. There's a fierce defiance in his eyes now, a determination you haven't seen before. "This isn't over," Lucas says, his voice steady, not by a long shot. Richard smiles, but there's no warmth in it. Only the cold certainty of a man who believes he's won. "You're wrong," Richard says softly, his eyes narrowing. "You're just getting started." And as the sirens grow louder, the world seems to stand still. The future is uncertain, hanging in the balance. The Devereux family may be powerful, but it's the truth that has the final say. For now, though, the battle is far from over.